When one thinks minis, it's hard to stop Goodbye Pork Pie and the Italian Job from entering into your head. Hell, even the super spy Jason Bourne ripped around in one. But it's not just the big screen that has the mighty Mini on show. Our race circuits get the treatment as well. Okay, Trent, try and talk us through as best you can the difference in the Mini classes.
We run 4 classes in this Super Mini Challenge, starting from 1000cc Mini 7s. Next class is the class I'm in, is regular class, so it's 1380. Slightly more modifications you can do, and fiberglass front end, fiberglass boots, bonnets, and all that sort of stuff as well. And then the third official class is the Supers. They're like the 5 readers of the Minis, so let's give these V8 guys a hurry up in this today. And then we have an open class, and it's basically as long as you come along with a full roll cage and a setup with slips and all that sort of stuff you can run. Well, the Mini 7s, they average around about 80 odd horsepower out of 1000cc, it's not too bad. The 1380s and the regulars, which is my class, we run about 118 to 125 horsepower. And the Supers can run into the 150s, 160s. So they may all look the same, but there's a few more tricks up underneath the bonnet. We can't run limited slip diff, which would really help our class if we could. The Supers are the only ones that can run that, and obviously open, they can do whatever they like. But with mild cam, and pretty much we can run fiberglass front end, but we're restricted by weight in my class to 670 kilos. The Supers are around 650, and the Mini 7s are 650, and then open you're kind of ballpark.
So really, if you're talking the opens, they're a serious go-kart, aren't they, on steroids?
Some of them are, yeah. You'll probably see there's a turbocharged one out there that's got some serious boogie. You'll hear it before you see it. So.
Yes, you heard correct. We have an imposter in the mix. It seems as though some people just can't leave well enough alone. I was always told if it ain't broke, don't try fix it. Try telling Richard Wagstaff that. So Richard, firstly, what on earth would possess you to do such a thing?
Yeah, you'd have to be a little silly, I think, probably, but just something different. Always pushing the envelope, trying to do something different to everybody else, really, and that's just an extension of what we do. We've tried different things, but the turbo's really got to be the best one, and it's really fun to drive. So.
Well, talk us through the process. What was involved, and where is it at now?
Well, there was a huge process. It's been going on for quite a few years, so it's been developed, but where it is now, we're at the point where the other day on the dyno we got 180 horsepower out of a poor little 940cc Mini, but it's not that reliable at that kind of horsepower. It lasts about a lap, so we've had to detune it a wee bit. It's got my second engine in there at the moment, but at least it's reliable, and now we're having some fun.
Around Pukekohe, it is probably the best thing for the Mini to have a turbo on it. How does it perform, say, on the tighter twistier tracks?
It's kind of point and squirt, so you get a bit of lag coming out of a corner, and then it's hang on while the front wheels try to fight for traction. It's exciting, it's probably the best word. Yeah.
To be honest, I do love the idea of a turbo on a Mini, and normally his crew does as well, except when Richard breaks it. Now this is what happens when you mess with the laws of physics. What's going on?
Yeah, well, it's got a small issue with the manifold. The turbo started falling off and we started losing boost, so a bit of a lack of power, but boys are into it. We'll have it welded back up and back out there again, and we'll be fine.
Now the Minis were racing with the Pre65s, which probably put even more pressure on the turbo to find some legs. But as always, it is hard going to get past the number 42 of Kevin Townsend, who took the first race with Richard back in 4th. Trent grabbed the Mini spoils in race 2 ahead of Townsend, with Richard having to cope with that turbo rattling around in the engine bay and slotting down into 7th. The results of race 3 were all mixed again when Stephen Lovett came through for the win, but with no surprise in seeing Mr. Townsend in the top 3 as well. His overall results from the weekend putting him at good speed for the rest of the season. So the simple question that people want to know is, did you keep it whistling?
Yeah, whistle's good, but not much fuel at the top end. I think it didn't want to burn it. That's missing pretty horrible, but yeah, it kept burning and it feels good.
So this is the future of Mini racing, is it?
Well, maybe by the next meeting or maybe the next one, hopefully when I get it ironed out, it should be the future. People will love to see it.
The battle between the Red Lion and Blue Oval is legendary, and the fight has been going on the longest in the Pre65 class. The Chevy and others have also joined the fray. But what about the harassment that comes from those who share the same label?
Well, Tony, I understand you've been in a Cortina for a while, but you've moved on to the Mustang. Why?
Well, I don't know. It was just an opportunity to get into a V8, I guess. I sort of looked at it a year before, heard that it was coming up for sale. So I thought, oh well. And my old mate Robbo from Auckland is alongside me here. We've had a lot of good races in the last three years, and I just step up basically. Yeah, step up.
Well, Robbo, that must make it a change for you now, because you don't get to battle them in the 8-cylinder. You're still with the 4-cylinders, but you are on the track at the same time. How on earth do you cope with V8s when you've got a 4-cylinder?
You don't really. They just come past you, mate. No, it's sort of like we've got the three classes in the one class, you know. So we have battles within battles, you know, and sometimes you get a good crack on the Sunday in the handicap races and, you know, get the pegging back if it's wet, you know, you have the chance. So we do battles within battles, so yeah, that's the main thing.
I mean, he hasn't moved to the holding camp. He's in the Ford. He's got the Oval. But is he still classed as a traitor now?
No, not really. No. Myself, I'm building up 65 Mustang like Tony's and the Howard one. So hopefully this time next year we'll be neck and neck again, giving each other a hard time. Yeah.
Tony, with the V8s in it, that is a huge battle with all that horsepower. What are you allowed to do to your cars in this class of 365s?
Oh, there is a fair bit you're allowed to do. You're generally supposed to. You've got to stick with the engine blocks, transmissions that the cars sort of came with in the 365. You know, you can go to your crate dog boxes with as long as it's only a 4-speed. Engine, you can do a lot inside the engine, but you've got to have the cast iron heads, and you're not allowed alloy heads and all that sort of stuff. So there is a lot that you can do anyway, you know.
Why the Pre65s out of all the different motorsport classes out there? And I'll ask you as well, Robert, but for you, why Pre65?
Well, I guess it started about 4 years ago. I was just looking for a Cortina, just a road car basically, and this race Cortina came up in Tauranga, and I went and had a look at it, and I thought, oh, okay, this is a bit of me, and that's sort of how it started. I mean, I raced cars in the 62, so and Cortinas, and that's where it really started. And then I just into it from there, really.
He just showed his age there, Robbo. For yourself, why 365s? And the same thing, there's so many different classes out there.
Yeah, it's probably the same thing. You relate to them a little bit. And I used to have a Lotus Cortina when I was 17 and thought I'll get another one, but you can't speed on the road nowadays, you know, and you might as well get something enjoyed on the track, have a decent crack at it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, eh?
So 365s is good for you lads, isn't it?
Oh, it's just the guys, you know. I mean, if the car breaks down, everybody helps, gets it going, because we want the cars on the track. You know, trying to find a lot of these parts for these old cars, you know, it's getting quite hard, you know. So if an Anglia and a Cortina, one breaks down, the parts are interchangeable generally, so we'll get them going.
Yeah, they won't be stealing Mustang parts from your Cortina, will you?
You never know, mate. I need a hand, mate.
And if you think the SS2000 class is hard on the brain cells, well, try the Pre65s. But one thing is clear, in the Big Bangers, the #1 Mustang of Justin Howarth is basically untouchable, as he pretty much cleaned up the field to take Class A and the Pre65 overall, with the big red of Tony Elmiger close in behind for Class A second. Peter Stevenson and the big old Falcon grabbed third. The winner of the 6-cylinder Class B battle was Jeff Warren, backing up from the last IRC round win in his EH Holden, and he actually tops the Pre65 season overall so far. And representing the Class C of 4 cylinders with 1400cc and up was once again Grant Taylor, whose Anglia is certainly representing. While there was a sharing of spoils in Class D, with the Mini of Dave Bone grabbing first equal with a mighty Hillman Imp piloted by Gary Rush. But inside the Ford tent, things seem quite chipper.
Well, the simple question is, did you represent the oval?
Did I what? God, I was out on the grass and all sorts over on the back straight, having a hell of a lot of fun.
So it looks like the Pre65s has been another successful run, hasn't it?
Oh, I'd say so, yeah. The minis made it quite interesting though. There's a hell of a lot of minis when it's a reverse grid, and just trying to get through all those guys, getting more cars, you know, basically. But yeah, it was real interesting. Yeah, too right.